We now return to Let's Play Suzerain again. Speech of the President on the reforms of the Grand National Assembly. I came to the Grand National Assembly of Sordland to deliver a speech regarding the new constitution and ask for the support of the Assembly before the upcoming vote. I walked quickly through the corridors, giving my greetings to people on my way towards the Parliamentary Hall. When I entered the hall, the Assembly was in complete chaos, with shouting and cursing between the parties. There was a heavy argument about a proposal made by an MP from the NFP. I took my seat inside the special area reserved for the ministers. Gloria was shouting from her seat at the center of the hall as she hit the gavel 3 times, with each strike heavier than the one before. "Order! Order!" I saw Kisaro Kibner standing up from his seat and shouting towards the members of the PFJP. "Mr. Kibner, calm yourself. Show respect to the procedures of this assembly." Despite her efforts, the argument continued for a couple of minutes before everybody took back to their seats and finally went quiet. "Mr. Kibner, next time when I tell you to do so, either take your seat or leave the hall so we can proceed with the procedures of this assembly and continue our duties." Some MPs from the NFP side shouted back at her in protest. "Honorable ladies and gentlemen, if you allow me to continue," she pointed at me. "We have the President here with us today. He is asked to give an important announcement." The assembly fell silent. "You have the floor, Mr. President." I walked to the stand as loud clapping started in the USP's side. This is the speech that I gave to my own party. Honorable members of Assembly, I am here today to raise important questions regarding our outdated Constitution. This one is probably better. So if I had done this in the last one, I tried to go towards unity and a sense of democracy, but really I should have just gone towards survivability. Our elected assembly has always been overshadowed by the executive and designated judiciary branches in Sordland. The Grand National Assembly must be able to exercise its job properly and without obstruction. However, our current constitution fails to guarantee this. I continued. Comparing ourselves to the rest of the world is going to be antithetical to the conservatives. They don't care. We're Sordland. We do things the Sordish way. So, this one probably, huh? Therefore, we propose changes to the Constitution to prepare Sordland for a more democratic era. Applause came from the USP and the PFJP seats. We will rebalance the branches of government to ensure a more democratic process. I focused on unity. Because not everyone likes change and you can't enforce peace, so unity. It's important, more important than ever, that we stand united as a nation in these changing times. I call everybody to be part of the change our people have been calling for. We all want to make Sordland better, don't we? Let's embrace democracy and unite under the banner of our people, and surely Sordland will be great again. I mean, this one, I guess, lends itself more to the patriotism, right? But is this also signaling I don't know, because this might be sending the wrong signal, right? The whole great again makes people think of the past when we were great, quote unquote, and that was a dark time, a time that we're trying to change. The future is change. I don't know. I mean, this speaks to the holdouts' patriotism. It speaks to everybody's patriotism, and everyone has a different idea of what made Sordland great, I suppose. We're trying to get the holdovers, and the holdovers are the conservatives. So I guess this is who we need to focus upon. Although the reformists also were. I mean, so like this is the conservatives, and this is the reformists. I think the conservatives are the ones we need to get on board, more than the reformists. The reformists want reform. They might settle for less. If we can get the conservatives on board, that might be enough. Okay, fine. We'll make Sordland great again. Just as I was about to continue speaking, Gloria Torrey interrupted me. And Mr. President, with all due respect, I believe Sordland is already democratic. Do we really get into an argument on this right now? God damn this woman. Jesus Christ. She's clearly designed to derail things in the game, because this is not going to get her to shut up so that I can continue on this. And if anything, it's going to be seen as trying to quiet her, right? But I really don't want to get into a goddamn argument right now. That is going to muddy all of this shit. So it's 1 or 2. You don't want to get into 3 or 4 right now. But which one? Boy, this really mirrors the last time we were speaking together. Fine, please don't interrupt me. Tarquin's soul and his efforts cannot be ignored. We must keep following the path he defined for Sordish people. I am sure the honorable members of USP will see that the President is acting rash by allying with the opposition to destroy the culture of soulism that established Sordland. That was the extent of my quick note. Thank you. The President has the floor. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, at this fucking point, I don't know, this whole thing's gone, it's derailed. Like, how the fuck can any of these options lead to anything? I mean, we made a fool of the last one. We made a fool of the last one by being polite. It's going to be hard to support this one. Because this is subjective. Clearly, the conservatives think cultural values are a little bit different. And we are kind of here to destroy soulism, right? This is weak. This is a weak response. This kind of tries and grabs it back and gives me a chance to explain, because then I can just transition from this to be like, look, we're not trying to destroy anything here, we're trying to make everything more inclusive for everybody. But this, at the same time, just opens her back up to... All of these open back up to rebuttal. And while the respect thing played well to the public, I don't think this group of animals is going to care too much about that. I don't think being seen as polite is the thing that's going to sway voters in the parliament here. We're not here to destroy soulism, nor our cultural values. We kind of are. We kind of are. Ideologies. Soulism. Support of the sciences, free education. Republicanism, nationalism, and statism. I mean, number 2 is a flat-out lie, right? We've been moving solidly against soulism. This opens up for rebuttal. All of this shit, I mean, Jesus Christ, the best thing to do would be acting like it didn't happen and just keep going on. Whatever. This was disrespectful, Mrs. Speaker. Please don't try to sabotage the speech. Please continue your speech, Mr. President. I took a breath and continued. I don't see what a call for unity is going to do. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. Sure, let's call for unity. Let's set aside our differences. Be part of a new era for Sordland and join us and vote for our proposal. Let's write the future together. I'll address all the problems of the past in my proposal. Well, again, for the conservatives that don't think there were problems in the past, let's write the future together. Salute the crowd? That plays well with the solists, I'm sure. Finish with a poem? Are we doing another one of What's-His-Face's poems? Because that's not going to play well. Saluting is weird. Saluting is weird. Finish with a poem. That's also weird. I guess it makes a little bit more sense, but it's weird. Both of these are weird. Finish with a poem, sure. I decided to read a poem before I ended my speech. Why the fuck would they do this? Why would you just ad-lib a poem in here? This is idiotic. This part right here is just bad design for a game. Especially when, presumably, each of these choices has some hidden mechanical number in the background. Like, what the fuck does this mean? That we are going to build this poem line by line is idiotic. Give me both of them so that I can choose. Like, the full thing. Just give me the full goddamn thing. I hate this because it leads to surprises, because it's like, okay, I'm going to go down this route, and then you end up with some nonsensical bullshit that ends up where you didn't want to be. There is a destiny above destiny. There is my country beyond everything, my beloved. There's a spring that blossoms out of the graves of our fallen. What the fuck does this mean? A victory that grows with defeat? There is an artist painting the sun. What the fuck is this? I should have just saluted and walked out. I guess we're going the full optimistic route. Fear not when the dark falls, there is an artist painting the sun. Beyond the next morning, there is a victory waiting to be won. What an awful poem. The assembly roared, with all kinds of different reactions. Some applause came from the PFJP and USP seats. Most of the others started making loud noises again. Thank you for the speech, Mr. President. Sounds like we failed, boys. I walked back to my seat as many MPs asked to speak. Franz Richter was among them. Yes, Mr. Richter. Thank you, Mrs. Speaker. I would like to thank Mr. President for his speech. We, the People's Freedom and Justice Party, stand in agreement with the need for a more democratic constitution. I would like to thank the ladies and gentlemen of the United Sordland Party for their more open attitude compared to past years. As long as Mr. President's words prove not to be just words, we will be behind this much-needed movement for change. We welcome this attempt. I ask Mr. President to share the final contents of these proposals as soon as possible. Thank you, Mrs. Speaker. Suddenly, Casaro Kibner started yelling from his seat. The President must have lost his mind to cooperate with the likes of you, Mr. Richter. You and the PFJP are nothing but puppets of Western interests. Order! Madam Speaker, I know you're in agreement with me as well. Don't stand idly there while this administration is making deals with snakes and undermine the integrity of Order, Mr. Kibner. How many times do I need to say? You are speaking out of turn. I demand to speak. Jesus Christ, shoot them all! Gloria gave him a stare. She looked annoyed. I imagine that says the least. Very well, Mr. Kibner. No, Gloria, tell him to shut the fuck up or get the hell out. That is what you do. You already threatened him once. Do not let him speak. Go ahead. Mr. President, he looked directly at me as I got up and walked out of the fucking room. The nationalist movement does not agree with your priorities nor the way you're trying to implement them. The National Front Party will not stand with you on your new constitution. Let it be known then that the NFP's concerns are not included in this so-called democratic reform. Thus, Mr. President has no right to claim them as such. We'll stand our ground against any attempt to bring down our established political culture and national values. Thank you. Casaro went back to his seat, but the chaos in the assembly continued. Should I speak? What the fuck else do I have to say? This is another thing, like, what else would I say? What else would I say? This is an opportunity to just shoot myself in the foot. What the fuck else would I say? Why wouldn't the game give me some heads up about what I'm going to go say? This is why this is so fucking unrealistic, because if it were actually me, I would have some idea of, oh yeah, I got something to say to that, let me speak. But here it's like, what the hell are you thinking, buddy? At the same time, just leaving just leaves it. I don't think I'm going to change any hearts or minds. I think this is a fool's errand to do this. But at the same time, maybe? Because now I'm not speaking to either of those parties. We know the PFJP wants to reform. We know that the NFP does not. Is this a chance to speak to the people on the fence in my own party? Is that what this is? Am I trying to convince the fence sitters on this one? What the fuck am I going to say? What will my options be if I stand up to speak? I hate that this game doesn't allow saving. Because there are things like this where you can just completely fuck the game. Which I think is grossly unfair. Because it's just so ambiguous. Like, what the fuck is this going to lead to? What good could this do? Right now, I honestly don't think it could do any good. Aside from the completely outlandish opportunity that maybe I can convince some people in my own party, I just see this as more of an opportunity to put my own foot in my mouth than anything. I honestly can't see a benefit to doing this. I really can't. Why would they develop this? That's what I'm trying to think right now. Why would the developers put this in here? Unless it's just a chance to gain just a few more points in the background in my favor. No one in this game is flexible. That much is apparent. Everyone's got a fucking chip. Jesus Christ, I couldn't even get the reformists to commit to being on my side without 100% giving them everything they want. So what could this possibly be doing game-wise? Other than just not walking out completely and looking like I've got my tail between my legs. I have not done this before, but there is a chance to load at the last checkpoint, which I believe would be before this, in particular, this event. If this goes south, I'm going to use it. Ask to speak. Yes, Mr. President. The fuck is this? Where does this lead? We don't need to address, I mean, I could address Kibner, but what the fuck am I gonna say? Nothing that would convince him or his party. This might be helping to address the conservatives in my own party, who will be more sympathetic to his belief, right? To his side? This is like, what the fuck does this mean? Alright, let's play this out, and I'm just going to keep reloading, and we're just going to keep playing this. Because if this is it, just stand up, oh, I just wanted to thank everyone. Like, what a fucking dipshit. Does this lead somewhere? This better lead to a dialogue tree for me to have more than that. I just wanted to thank everybody for their comments. But, can I have the last word, or is this it? Oh, whatever. We'll just reload. I just wanted to thank everyone for their comments. Alright, Mr. Are you fucking serious? MPs kept shouting and responding to each other, creating a loud mess where nothing was legible. Legible. Nothing was legible. You sure that's the word you wanted to use there? Was that it? Really? Alright, we're reloading that. Don't know how far back that's going to go, but we're going to reload the whole thing. If the game would actually care to do so. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, honorable members, blah, blah, blah. Overshadowed, blah, blah. Democratic era. Rebalanced government. Unity. Make Sordland great again. Please don't interrupt me. Disrespectful. Set aside our differences or make constitution together. I think I said differences, right? Part of a new era. Write the future together. Finish with a poem. This goddamn awkward thing. Destiny. Country. Spring. Darkness falls. Beyond the morning. Mr. Richter. Ask to speak. Mr. Kibner. I looked at him. We are not specifically cooperating with someone, but everyone. We ask you also join us. What the fuck does that mean? Let it be known that the concerns are not met, has no right to claim such. What in the hell does this mean? We could be confrontational, I guess, for once. I'm saddened to hear about your opposite stance. We knew that he would be. I guess we can continue this unity line. We're cooperating with everyone. What the fuck does that mean? This is so weirdly worded. This means nothing. Let's find out where it goes. He watched as he slouched on his seat, legs crossed. Again, bringing up change. I respect your opinion, but... I mean... So this one is different in that it is taking the themes of change as well as unity. Because where does this go? This just got far more complicated. We can do much more together. I respect your opinion, but what? Like, where does this lead? Because this is basically saying, okay, I hear you, but... Like, I want to know where that goes, and I don't want to have to go through the goddamn dialogue tree again to get to this point. This game just needed to have a save feature. There's no fucking reason to have the stupid autosave thing that it does, where you can't reload. Especially if they're going to allow you to load from the last checkpoint. Anyway, like, why not just have a full save scum feature? Like, who cares? So what do we go for? Do we try... Because, I mean, this is basically just saying, listen, this is happening, you can join us, or, okay, look, I hear what you're saying, but I better have a fucking rebuttal for this. I respect your opinion, but this is why you're wrong. I mean, this is not the kind of guy, or the party, that this sort of rhetoric works on. Again, we're not necessarily speaking to him. We're speaking to the part of my party that is sympathetic to him. You can't change certain people's minds, and this is definitely a situation where Kibner will not join us. But I guess if we're using this as a platform to talk to my own people... Because he's just going to brush this off as being nonsense. But what does this look like to my own party? Does this even go? I wish for like the millionth goddamn time I could see the stats behind the game and what this affects. Because I want to know where this goes. You know what? Fuck it. We'll just reload again. I respect your opinion. Jesus Christ. Alright. Reload. That doesn't lead to any goddamn dialogue tree. I don't understand the restrictive nature of the two-sentence thing, the two lines. I'm a big boy, I can handle a paragraph of text. And just making all these decisions based in single sentences that are followed by other sentences just leads to confusion. You don't know where your own thoughts are going, because you don't know what your options are. Overshadowed, democratic, rebalance, unity, great again, don't interrupt me, disrespectful, set aside differences, a new era, future together, finish with a poem about destiny, about country, about spring, about darkness. The next morning, Ask to speak to Mr. Kibner. Join us. Do not stand in the way. Thank you. Gloria looked at me as if I'd finished, to see if I'd finished my response. We have no reason to speak to Mr. Richter. He's fully in support. We could. I guess reaching out to everybody. Again, just another chance to put my foot in it. Mr. Richter. Rest assured your concerns will be addressed. So, favoritism already. We'd like to have cooperation between our parties. What does that mean? Because there are definitely members of the party who don't. Thank you for the nice words. I guess? Rest assured your concerns will be addressed. What were his concerns again? As long as Mr. President's words prove not to be just words, we will be behind this much-needed movement for change. I mean, at this point, I almost wish I didn't say anything. Your concerns will be addressed, but not the other guys. Yeah, thanks for the nice words, I guess. I welcome your positive attitude. I expect your support, Mr. Richter. We can do much more together. Okay, there's another unity thing. Because I did kind of do that, you know, I threw that out at what's-his-face, being like, look, we can get more done together. It's the first part of that that makes me a little bit leery. I expect your support. He said he would give it to us. But why should we now expect it? I mean, this is kind of nice. This is flattery. This is unity. This one is less awkward. See, like if it said, I welcome your positive attitude, we can do much more together, then I'd be down with that. This one is like... it's a little bit too demanding. I expect your support, we can do much more together. And what will the game focus on? Will it focus on the first part, or will it focus on the second part? I don't want to keep reloading this shit so that I can get the right one that I want to say. Sure, we can do more together. Gloria looked at me to see if I was done. Thank you, Mrs. Speaker. I got up from my seat and started my walk towards the exit. MPs kept shouting and responding to each other, creating a loud mess where nothing was discernible. Order, order. This topic is finished. We're moving on to our onto our next topic. I slowly left the hall. The shouting could be heard from every corridor of the Grand National Assembly. Jesus Christ, what a fucking chore. The news. Rayne, our elected assembly has always been overshadowed. President Rayne has called on the Grand National Assembly of Sordland to support the upcoming constitutional changes in his address to Parliament. The President's address came after a series of meetings within the USP, which probably involved discussions about the new Constitution. President Rayne talked about the main points of their proposed changes and revealed that the current draft will be looked over again with leaders of the PFJP before it's proposed in the Parliament. Did I commit to that somehow? Don't know that I committed to that somehow, but I guess I committed to that somehow. That's a little sketchy. But on the same token there, that's good that we'll be given a chance to look over it again, because I made some concessions to my own party that apparently didn't buy me what they were supposed to buy. So if they're not going to be on board, I'm going to take those back and re-implement them if we can get the PFJP on board. Our elected assembly has always been overshadowed by the executive and the designated judiciary branches in Sordland, said President Rayne. I absolutely did not say that, but apparently I did say that, criticizing the power of the Supreme Court as well as the very office he's holding. I did not say that, actually. Unless that was just implied behind the scenes or whatever, the statement was met with surprise and was welcomed by Franz Richter at the PFJP. The Grand National Assembly must be able to exercise its job properly and without obstruction. However, our current constitution fails to guarantee this, says President Rayne, showing he is willing to bring changes that would elevate the Parliament's position. Geopolitical. Agnolian battleship rams into Vogslandian destroyer. Jesus fucking Christ. The tensions between Agnolia and Vogsland keep climbing. The latest additions to the escalation happened yesterday on the Vogoslavian Channel, when an Agnolian battleship rammed into a Vogslandian destroyer. According to the Agnolian sources yesterday in the morning, the Agnolian battleship Van Gilben has warned the Vogslandian destroyer Stanison to move out of the way. The Vogslandian captain did not respond to the communication, and as a result, two ships collided, causing a few injuries to happen on board. Could they have just proofread this game even just a little bit before releasing it? Neither side opened fire and instead waited for orders. I wonder if that is something I have inadvertently initiated by following that. The thing is, though, if we said no, one, that would have jeopardized the trade negotiations, and two, I have no doubt these guys would have said, hey, we want that back. We're trying to survive against an enemy here, guys. We don't need this shit right now. Status report, reform status. Lucien Gallade reported that so far they have been able to get, in total, 96 signatures behind the proposal. Efforts are underway to increase the support and reach out to necessary members to reach 150. What were we before? Only 96 of our 130. If all of the PFJP is on board, that's enough. Plus the independents, if we can get them too. I have been trying to be nicer about the Bloods and the minorities in the country. If we could get 80, we can definitely do it. The fact that we have 96 of our own people is somewhat surprising. It would be more surprising if I could remember what the number was before, though, and what we jumped from. Because it still seems to me... it still seems to me... Okay, this didn't change. I don't know. Yeah, who really knows? Anyway, it's time to end this one here. We'll continue next time.